Somebody made a request a few months ago about going through the road bike shifters, or the STI. These are Shimano's. They have little hidden micro shifts inside here. So sorry for the delay. A lot of times we're going through class teaching people about adjusting derailleurs, front and rear derailleurs, also telling them or teaching them about proper shifting. If you're working in a shop, you want to educate the person on the bike. Sometimes they're not aware of what particular gear you should be in, backing off pressure, pedal pressure. So we're allowing the derailleur to move the chain over properly. Then you can go ahead and engage more torque on those pedals. So by educating them on proper shifting, avoiding cross chaining, which we'll go through, and where your front chain ring, where the chain likes to be in the front chain rings, where the chain likes to be in the rear. We're more or less trying to have a nice straight chain line, just like a fixie. When we're doing a fixie bike or a track bike, we're making that chain nice and straight. If it's a little crooked, then we're putting a little stress on the system. A little bit of noise starts to occur, a little excess stress on the chain. But overall, if somebody's shifting properly, that's probably going to be 9 times out of 10 or less. I don't know what the percentage is. If there's an error, it's because maybe some poor shifting was done. It could be rider error, but once we get used to shifting, backing off on pedal pressure, making our gear change, or when you're on a climb, it could be a mild climb, whether it's a 7% or 15%, you can pedal, get some momentum, a few quick strokes, glide, even if it's just for a second or two, shift, back off on pedal pressure, let that chain do what it needs to do, hop over to that next gear, boom, re-engage your climbing, and continue that pedal pressure. Usually you can do that pretty good. That takes a little time to learn. It's a little bit of a skill, but if you're riding a bike, you can do it. So we're going to go through micro shifts on this front derailleur shifter. There's no micro shifts on the rear derailleur. So if I'm sitting on the bike, just for future reference, if I say left shifter, it's usually because you're sitting on the bike looking at your left side. You're probably viewing it on the right side. So these micro shifts are going to allow you to fine tune the chain in particular gears. Most likely the chain starts doing a little crossing. That chain is touching the inside of the derailleur cage on the left side or the right side, depending where you're at in the rear of the bike. So you might find a gear that just works out perfectly for pedal cadence, and you can do a little micro shift to get that chain rub out of there. You can do a micro shift and that derailleur cage will move away from there, whether you're in a high pedaling gear in the rear or a low speed gear in the rear. It can get you pretty close to cross chaining. Of course, we don't recommend that, but a lot of people you might find their perfect cadence right there. So I think what Shimano tried to do is accommodate, give you a little leeway for those situations. So if you're able to visit some of my other videos on adjusting front and rear derailleurs, talk a lot about paying attention to the clicks in your shifter, whether it's road bike, mountain bike, hybrid, kids bike, whatever. We're always listening for those either upshifts or downshift clicks. Some of them can be very light or mild sounding. Some are very loud, SRAM particularly. Shimano's are pretty light, very faint, so it's nice to have kind of somewhat of a quiet work area. Turn down that radio, stop that barking dog, all those things. So very important to listen for these clicks. Your ears are going to be very important. I don't know if you're going to be able to feel it vibration-wise when you're shifting, but each click should get you a gear change in the rear or front or rear derailleur. We should have a gear change. The chain is going to change a gear. 1 click will get you 1 gear change. 2 clicks should get you 2 gear changes, whether going up or down, upshifting or downshifting, going into the smaller, harder pedaling gear or the bigger, larger, easy climbing gear. That's going to be where you start training your ear, is going to get you really good tuning procedure, or whatever the heck you want to call it. You're going to be good about shifting gears. In here, the micro shift might even be a little bit more fainter. You're barely moving this whole shifter arm. So for the Shimano's, the whole shifter arm or brake lever moves sideways for upshifting. So this is for the front. We're upshifting from small chainring to middle chainring or big, depending what you have, a triple or a double. The inside lever, which is a little plastic guy, it's a smaller lever, same direction. You're pushing inward towards the center of the handlebars. That's going to downshift. Depending how hard you shift, you can get 1 click or 2 clicks, which will get you a micro shift or a full gear change. A micro shift is going to allow the chain to stay on that gear, but the derailleur is going to move just so ever slightly, getting away from the chain therefore getting rid of that little light rub that you're experiencing. And this is only for the front. We're only doing the front here. No, that doesn't exist for the rear shifting, whether it's SRAM, Shimano, or Box, or Campanolo, or